Hey Saggies, welcome to your monthly reading for March. Let's dive in and see what March has in store for you guys. Messages for Sagittarius for the month of March, please. Messages for my Saggies for March. All right. We have illusions, confusions, not seeing clearly, escapism, addictions, and fantasy. So there might be a situation going on right now where maybe you don't have the full picture and you're feeling a little bit confused or conflicted on either what to do or what exactly is happening here. And so this might be creating a little bit of a feeling of, confusion and not really knowing what to do. So you might be in a place where you're just feeling what is all this? What's going on? And just kind of waiting to find a little more clarity on a situation. Let's get some more for you, Saggies. Messages for Saggy for March. All right, I have grief. So, this is understandable when you're in a state of illusion and confusion and not really seeing things clearly. You might be really going through a period where you have a loss. Maybe this is a loss where you're grieving the loss of a relationship or the loss of a job or a loss of a friendship or, situation in a family dynamic that really isn't going, how you had hoped it had. And maybe you're just feeling a little bit sad about this and a little bit confused, maybe not understanding why things are happening the way that they are. Okay. Let's take a look here. Messages for Sagittarius for March. We have sadness and anger, which is understandable when you're in a period of going through kind of some grief and some loss, and you're trying to understand why a situation is happening the way that it is, or it has gone the way that it has. You're bound to feel a little bit of sadness and anger, which can also be why when your emotions are a little bit high and they're kind of going up and down, you can create a lot of confusion. And so the best way to kind of handle situations like this is to kind of take a little step back, have some kindness and compassion and love for yourself and give yourself grace and allow yourself to kind of ride the waves of those emotions, because, it's okay to feel this way. The emotions don't necessarily mean that something is bad and that things aren't going to get better. It's allowing that process to take its place so that it can purge those unnecessary emotions on situations that, weren't ideal for us. Maybe they didn't go ideally how we had hoped they'd go. And so it's just evoking a lot of, a little bit of sadness within us and can get those emotions just a little bit turbulent and create, some feelings of, not really sure what's going to play out, what's going to happen, or what you should do. So let's get some more messages for Sagittarius for March and get more clarity on this situation. Here I have the treasure inside gift. Okay, so sometimes when we have things playing out in a way that we didn't really expect them to be, maybe this is a relationship. And so, for example, if a relationship didn't go exactly how you wanted it to go, or maybe a friendship, that friend just isn't the friend who you thought they were, or maybe they once were before, this can put you in a state where you're just not seeing things clearly. And this can make you question a little bit of your self-worth. This can make you doubt, the future and how, if things are going to get better, if you'll ever have a relationship again, or if this whole situation will, come back together again. And so this is just saying, make sure that you're taking time to understand that, there's nothing wrong with you. You are worthy of a good relationship or situation or job, and that, good things will come to you. Not everything is going to work out the way that we had hoped it is. And so we need to just kind of move through that grief and have hope that, things will get better in the future. So looks like in the month of March, you either have just kind of moved on from a situation, maybe a situation has, left you, a person has left you, or maybe you were just kind of disappointed by with the way something is played out in your family dynamic. And so this is just saying, really make sure that you go inside and give yourself grace and ensure that you understand that you are worthy of good things and that this situation didn't necessarily, if I can get my words out right, they didn't necessarily happen just because there's something wrong. There's not anything wrong with you at all. And so I don't want you to get into a state of, self-doubt or, not feeling worthy of something. Let's dive a little deeper into the tarot, Saggies, and just see what's playing out here. Let's look at your recent past so I can get some more details on this and get you some guidance. Maybe get a little more clear on this situation. I have the Nine of Wands coming out in the recent past. So this looks like you've been through a little bit of a situation that maybe this has played out before. Maybe you've been in a job or a relationship where, this kind of dynamic just kind of seems to keep playing over and over and over again on repeat. Maybe this has been something that has been a pattern that has happened in the past where maybe you doubted yourself, and this created situations in relationships or jobs or friendships that kind of made chaos where there really wasn't a need to be chaos, just because there might be feelings of, low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-confidence that might be playing out. So it's important for you to really take a step back and just kind of try to recognize how things have been playing out and recognize this pattern that you need to see that is actually affecting these situations and maybe creating these unnecessary situations that are playing out right now. Let's look at the present energy and see what's playing out here. Present energy for Saggy for March. Okay, I have Judgment. So it looks like you're really at a crossroads right now, and they're asking you to be in a place where you're choosing yourself. So whatever the situation that's playing out that isn't going exactly how you'd hoped it had gone or didn't go, it's really just freeing yourself of this situation and freeing yourself from whatever pattern has been playing out that isn't conducive to your well-being and is making you doubt yourself or have feelings of low worth and self-esteem. It's saying free yourself in a way that will make you happy and will be a lot better for you. When the Judgment card comes out, it's kind of a call to action. It's saying, hey, this is a significant pivot point in your life and something needs to be done. And we really need to tap into our own intuition and in our own hearts and go in a direction that feels good to us, even though at the time it might feel really difficult to make that decision. And we may be questioning ourselves and doubting ourselves on the decisions that we're making. This is asking us to kind of have faith and surrender into that decision, and that the decision you need to make is one that you need to make already, okay? Let's look at the near future for Saggy for March. Near future, I have Ace of Pentacles for the near future for Saggy. So look at that, Saggies. It looks like something really new and promising is here on the horizon if you allow it to be. So once you make that really tough decision to go your separate ways and kind of remove yourself from the situation or kind of move through the emotions of what has been, you're going to be able to look forward to a brighter future. It looks like there's a new solid opportunity here that you can take advantage of that will be emotionally fulfilling. Here at the bottom of the deck, I have the King of Cups. So this can either be something that's emotionally fulfilling to you, where you get into a place where maybe, things just aren't so emotionally tumultuous. And so you're really gonna be in a place where you can find comfort in your emotions and they calm down and things just feel a lot better. So whatever it is that you're deciding to move away from or has moved away from you, it looks like something new is going to play out that will be a lot more emotionally fulfilling to you, where you're going to feel, maybe you'll be able to rebuild that sense of self-worth and self-esteem that maybe made you take a tumble a little bit and make you feel a little bit down and out. But it looks like this is promising where, this new energy that's coming in, whether it's a new job or a new relationship, or even just a whole new opportunity to reinvent yourself in this situation and go in a whole new direction. It looks like it's really promising if you allow it to be, okay? So it looks like you're in that position of needing to take action in a way that is conducive for your well-being. Let's get some advice for Saggies for March. Advice for Saggies for March. Okay, I have the Devil card. Okay, so this can come out again when we're in a difficult situation where, we're not really sure which way to turn. Things have been emotionally, tumultuous, and we're kind of going through those waves of emotion that are up and down, in and out, and it's just kind of playing into those old patterns of behavior. So this is telling me that there is some sort of pattern here that is directly related to, situations that you've had in the past, whether this was in your childhood or whether this is just something that's playing out in jobs or relationships. It would really benefit you to kind of take a moment to step back and see how things have played out in the past so that you can identify that pattern and make that change, because there is a really significant opportunity here to do something totally new, but you need to do something completely and totally new for it to be long lasting and not repeat itself. Okay, so this is asking you to untie yourself from whatever situation this is that has kept you in this cycle of kind of on repeat. This could be a situation like a relationship or a job that is making you feel a little bit tied to it. Maybe this is a codependent relationship or situation that, maybe you're staying at a job for the money, and it's a really good job. It has a great title. It makes, me a lot of money. And so you're kind of hanging on to that, but yet you kind of just feel terrible at the end of the day and you dread going to work. Or, this can even be a relationship where it's very codependent for whatever reason. Again, there's a pattern here playing out. This might be an emotional codependency where you're depending upon other people outside of you to feel emotionally validated, emotionally worthy, emotionally fulfilled, emotionally stable. But the reality is that, it might feel good for a time, but with this devil card, this energy coming out, it means that it's actually opposite than what you think that it is. So at the time, it feels really good, right? Eating 10 slices of cake feels really good at the moment, but it's not until a little bit later that you realize, yeah, that probably wasn't such a good idea. And then you begin to regret it. So this sort of situation that's playing out is something similar to that. Okay. So it may look really shiny and good and tasty on the outside, but really it's wreaking havoc on you on the inside. And it's creating some emotional turmoil within you that's creating a little bit of an imbalance and is turning toxic. Once it's in the devil energy, it's just in a toxic place and it needs to be addressed. So this judgment card is calling you to really figure out what this pattern is that's playing out so that you can make that significant change and do something completely different. Okay. So let's take a look at what's hidden for you, Saggies, for March and see if we can get a little bit further into this. Maybe something that you're not seeing that will prove helpful in this. What's hidden, please? What's hidden? All right. So I have the Magician and the Two of Cups coming out. Okay, so, again, this is telling me that this is directly related to a relationship of some kind. This has to do with relationships. It can be of any kind. It doesn't matter whether it's romantic or platonic. It really doesn't matter. It can even be a family member. It can even be your own children. Could be grown children, young children. It really doesn't matter. What this is telling me is that, there's this constant energy of, trying to invest in these relationships, trying to create something new, trying to make them work. It's almost like an old car dying on you over and over again, and you're just constantly having hope for this car and fixing it and saying, oh, it'll be better after I put this much money and time into it. And it's okay, it's steady, it's stable, it's good car. But in these situations with these relationships, they just turn really toxic really fast. So whatever this codependent energy is that's creating a pattern in your life, it needs to be addressed, and it has directly to do with relationships. And this may be something where you're constantly kind of like cycling through new relationships, new friendships. So when things get difficult or hard, or maybe they're just not validating you anymore in the way that you need that validation to feel fulfilled, you just kind of move on to the next and create a new one. And so this is telling me that you're just cycling through these relationships maybe a little bit too quickly, but it's because it's not necessarily that the relationships are bad. It's just that you're not recognizing a pattern that's playing out in these situations that is just turning toxic for you. So you might need to take a step back from whatever relationships or situations this is and really get clear on things, okay? Because you do have to recognize that pattern in order to make that change. What is it that you're seeking from these situations and relationships that are causing you to constantly, feel that need for validation, or, just kind of moving on from them and maybe ghosting them, or maybe they're ghosting you and you're just constantly finding you need to have new relationships or new friendships in your life. Sometimes this energy can play out when you maybe date a lot. So you might be finding like you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're just kind of happy and things are going really good. And, you're in that little bit of a romantic stage, and then things kind of die off. And then you kind of get back to your everyday lives and things just isn't as exciting anymore, but it begins to make you feel a type of way. So sometimes with these patterns of energy that we have that stem pretty far back into our life and likely into our childhood, it then starts to say, hey, something's wrong here. What's wrong? Something's wrong. Maybe this person doesn't like me anymore. So then we begin to kind of like move away from those situations. We either ghost them, leave them behind, ice them out, whatever it is that's playing out here, Saggy. It's just something that's not conducive to your well-being, and so it needs to be addressed here. That's the advice here. Let's look at maybe what you don't see coming for March. What does Saggy not see coming for the month of March? I have the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords coming out for you, Saggies. So this is saying that here in the month of March, if you can recognize this pattern, really take time to contemplate and get clarity on this situation, you're going to be able to recognize this pattern, and you're going to be able to recognize a new way of handling it, okay? You're not going to really rush into these situations anymore. So this might be you not rushing into a relationship just to feel like you're not alone and lonely because it gets quiet and you don't know what to do with yourself. This could be not rushing into, jobs because you need something to fill your time and you just don't want to be bored. This could be running into friendships and just constantly going out with your friends, but really it's not even friends that you get along with or maybe even really like. So this is going to say that there's an opportunity here that once you can get clarity on this pattern, you're going to have a clear direction on which to go and you can take that necessary action. Here on the bottom of the deck, I have the Fool, which is indicative of the fact that there is an energy here that is very promising that once you recognize this pattern, make a clear decision on it, do something completely different. Even though it might be uncomfortable at the time, any leap of faith that we take in a new direction, is going to feel a little bit shaky at first. But if you have faith and take that leap, you're going to find that it's going to prove very positive for you. And you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more meaningful relationships and situations in your life that are going to be more fulfilling, because you really do need to start with that on the inside of yourself and finding that validation from within, from you, not from other people. So Saggy, there you have it for the month of March. I hope this proved helpful for you. Until I see you the next time, take care.